was a brown belt. I was teaching in San Diego. I started to attract students, and I realized, oh my God, I should do this. In fact, it's what I've been training for my entire life, but I never knew it. I decided to quit my job, move to a new town, and go for it. Go for it. Follow my vision. And following my vision was the best decision I ever made. And if I was able to successfully follow my vision, I would like to help other people follow theirs. Jiu-jitsu is beautiful. It's a human technology. It's extremely powerful. It's a physical language that people need to become fluent in if they want physical literacy in the 21st century. And to be able to share that language with other people and get them inspired requires showing them that it's more than just a sport. It's an art. Things had shifted. The internal transformation had already begun, and I realized I need to do something different. So I took one trip to Bend. I did a seminar and realized this is the place. You can feel it. It felt right. So I quit my job. I packed up my belongings. I moved to Bend and started an academy. I didn't have any money, but I had a dream and I had a vision. And this was going to happen. This was going to happen. I was 23 when I started training Brazilian Jiu-jitsu, and it was a long road. It took me 9.5 years to get my black belt. I got it under Professor Roy Harris, who was one of the Dirty Dozen, one of the first 12 Americans to get his black belt in the BJJ. They were difficult years. It got a lot more fun once I got my purple belt. A lot more fun. In terms of professionally, I never thought I would teach Jiu-jitsu professionally. I did it because I loved it. I did it because it gave me a sense of identity. I did it because I was also seeking that power. Then Jiu-jitsu is definitely a path of power. It shows you how to master your body. It shows you that you're more capable than you can imagine right now, if you have the right training. If you find the guidance of the right teacher, you can utterly transform your life and leverage not only your body, but you can leverage your talents to do things that you're not even sure that you're capable of, but then you find yourself doing it one day. Actually, at several times in history, Jiu-jitsu has had a thug reputation. And I've wanted to show that Jiu-jitsu is beautiful. Jiu-jitsu is utterly transformative. I've seen it transform people's lives. People develop confidence, and it's not an arrogant sense of self. It's a deep-seated confidence that you have paid your dues, you are learning how to manipulate your body and control yourself. When you can control yourself and put yourself in the proper position, it's easy to leverage other people. But if you're not in the right position, it's very difficult. Once people take a calm, considered approach to their game on the mat, they can transfer that outside to their life. And they realize that you don't need to approach every situation head on. You don't need to attack things fully 100%. In fact, sometimes that's the wrong way to go. Cars have reverse for a reason. It's a very useful gear. It's not all about going forward at 100%. I went to university in San Diego. I worked in San Diego for 7 years, and I loved it. But there's a time when you shift. There's a time when you evolve and you realize internally that something's got to change. So that happened for me after about 7 years. I realized I need to be a little bit closer to nature. I need a different approach. I need a different approach to my life. So I came to Bend at the invitation of a student of mine who moved up here. And he said, it's a perfect place, Roy. You got to check it out. It's amazing, and they need jiu-jitsu school. And it was going to be different. I was going to show the world that jiu-jitsu was beautiful, and I was going to show the world that this is a process. It's not that you have specific knowledge and you create champions. It's a process. There are ups and downs. You win and you lose. And I want to show the world that transparent process through my academy. YouTube was an emerging technology. I started posting belt demonstrations, wins and losses, basically giving people an open view of what's happening at my academy. And there's an element of storytelling because people are able to follow these people that started at white belt, see them progress all the way through their own journey. And as people are training in other areas, they're able to relate because maybe they're on the same generational escalator. They started as a white belt when somebody else started as a white belt. They see their progression, they can gauge it against their own, and they realize, oh, it's really all the same. We're all the same. And to be able to connect with people over a wide area just through these videos has been very special, and it's been an integral part of creating my academy. I love this town. I've been around the world. I haven't seen every place, but I'm always thankful to come back to Bend. I'm always thankful because this town is nourishing. It nourishes my spirit. It feeds my soul. There are many environments that are toxic. There are environments that drain you. This one puts me closer to nature. Happiness is a direction. Happiness is knowing you're on the right path. Happiness is not just doing what you want to do, but being able to be useful, maximizing your potential. To be able to leverage your intellect, your passion, and your intent, and focus and deliver your energies in a positive way that contributes to others' lives. To be able to make a contribution in a field that you care about, that is happiness. Happiness is a direction, it's not a destination. Teaching is extremely rewarding. There's nothing quite like being able to transmit knowledge. That transmission directly, when you can transmit knowledge via video and through other technological means, but being able to transmit knowledge one-on-one or with a small group of people, to be able to have their skills develop right before your eyes, be able to use those skills under duress, in competition, and walk away with the victory, there's nothing quite so sweet. I actually enjoy that more than my own victories, being able to transmit this knowledge that I've gathered. And every generation should make it easier for the next in Jiu-Jitsu. I want to keep evolving the art. The art's been very kind to me, and it's an honor to be able to share it. The BJJ lifestyle. Jiu-Jitsu is a lifestyle because it changes your perspective. It completely shifts your perspective, what you're capable of. You look at people differently. You look at size and strength very differently. You lose fear. You gain confidence. And that enables you to make different kinds of decisions in your life. The Jiu-Jitsu lifestyle is a holistic approach. It's a holistic approach to your life. It's a way of keeping your machine well-oiled and operational. It's a way of assessing how nimbly other people are able to navigate this life. It's a way of shifting your perspective so that you deal with situations, especially challenging situations, perhaps from a different angle. Maybe take an indirect approach so that you can get people to give you a little bit of momentum to work with. The BJJ lifestyle is more than just the physical approach to the art. It's more than the sport. It's really about the now, recognizing the immediacy of this moment, how precious it is, and how enjoyable it is. Jiu-jitsu truly is a dynamic form of yoga. And to be able to use our evolutionary history to focus our consciousness on this single moment where somebody is trying to dominate us and we are trying to dominate them. It shuts out everything else and brings you right here. Very few things are as enjoyable and repeatable as Jiu-jitsu. There are many sports, there are many physical disciplines you can do. Each one imparts its own flavor, has its own energy. But the Jiu-jitsu energy has a vitality to it. It's unpredictable. It's dynamic. And ultimately, it's very youthful. And those that are involved in this art have that vitality. People recognize it, and they're able to transmit it as well. Your ego is necessary to preserve self. However, Jiu-jitsu compresses it to an acceptable level. It does not rule your life. Nothing squares you quite as readily as the mat. You know where you are. You know where you exist in the pecking order. There are people above you and there are people below you. Your skills are realistic. You can't delude yourself on the mat. And so people that have a really big ego when they come in, sometimes they can't handle it. They can't handle being dominated by smaller people. They can't handle giving their best and still not doing well. That's a shocker for a lot of people. The ego can flare at different points. It doesn't get quashed completely at white belt. Over time, you get ego flares. Happens a lot at purple belt. Guys, they feel the power of Jiu-jitsu. It's not just theoretical knowledge like at white belt in defense. Blue belt, you have a couple of skills. Purple belt, you're really putting it together. You're having full-on physical conversations with people. You're actually able to win the physical debate. You feel the power of momentum and combinations, and that's real physical power, being able to dominate people and do things that you never expected. And even at black belt, there can be more ego because you're afraid of being exposed. You're afraid of tapping. You're afraid of being vulnerable. Your ego has to go at every belt level. And you have to be okay with being vulnerable. You have to continue your evolution. Evolution can't continue without some vulnerability. You have to have new information, new angles, new processes. And Jiu-Jitsu keeps you young, mentally and physically. The journey to black belt in BJJ is very arduous. It's definitely something that's a life accomplishment. Now, there are martial arts where there's rote, physical repetition of technique, but that's very different than skill. Physical imitation of techniques against the air or a non-resistant opponent is markedly different than executing techniques against a skilled resistant opponent. And a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is able to implement their techniques against fully resistant opponents that are very tough and very skilled. A Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt can eliminate about 97% of the population on the earth. They can physically dominate about 97%. I was already doing Jiu-Jitsu, and I have always felt an affinity toward yoga. Despite trying several different styles, nothing really resonated with me. My friend recommended an Ashtanga yoga school. I went, and I recognized immediately that this was something different, this was something special, this was serious. It reminded me of martial arts. It was quiet, it was rigid, it was something where there was a different kind of energy. I threw myself into yoga. I threw myself into learning this art of Ashtanga. And I was terrible. I was so stiff. All the years of sitting at a computer, all the years of doing guard work in Jiu-Jitsu, all the muscular patterns and layers of muscle that I had developed, which made me effective in martial arts, are exactly the things I need to undo, to open, to be able to really explore this discipline of yoga. So I was fortunate to have very good teachers that allowed me to fall in love with the art. They were patient with me, and even though I do not consider myself to be a standout yogi in any sense, the real yoga is all done inside. It's the equanimity of mind that it cultivates. It's this evenness in your temperament, in your spirit, that is different than anything I've ever experienced. I've done many martial arts. Jiu-Jitsu has a special feeling that is very vital. It's very yang. Jiu-Jitsu is very unique in that sense. Yoga is the perfect complement. It is much softer. It is not easy, but you don't have this external opponent. The opponent is you. That's who you're grappling with. And so to be able to explore that discipline as a complement to my jiu-jitsu, it's made me a more calm individual. It has healed my body. My body in my 20s felt terrible. I would get injured, I would train over those injuries because I had this compulsion that I had to get better and other guys were getting better. Yoga has allowed me to open up, take some time, balance myself, realize the asymmetry in my body. It brings me back to a symmetrical place. The secret of youth is a soft and flexible spine, and that's what this cultivates. It tempers your spine. It makes it stronger, more flexible through breath and through a simple bending mechanism. It's so beautiful. It's so powerful. It's so difficult. It deserves respect. It deserves to be practiced by more people. It's the foundation of many yoga styles. And if you want to do real yoga, you should look to Ashtanga. Bridging and sprawling and twisting your hips, that's about it. That's what we have to work with our bodies. Bridging, sprawling, and twisting your hips. So yoga has allowed me to explore the sprawl a little bit more, the back bend. It's opened that range of motion up for me. And the greater your range of motion, the greater your arsenal of attacks and the more technical possibilities you have. It's also enabled me to circulate and rebalance my body after hard sparring. There's nothing I look forward to more than going to an early morning yoga practice after a long trip or after a hard sparring session, because I know it's going to calm my mind and I am able to tackle so many more problems evenly after doing that practice. It's amazing. It is every bit as difficult as BJJ and every bit as healing, more healing. And to be able to enter that mental state every day, to have that equanimity of mind, that evenness, allows you to approach your life in a completely different manner. As I look at athletes as they age, I realize that some sports are much harder than others. Some take a very, very heavy toll on your body. Yoga is not easy, but it's something that will keep you in the game for a very long period of time. And it's really a fountain of youth. The breathing in yoga is vital. Being able to focus on nothing but your breath is a meditation, a moving meditation in itself. It's the source of life. When you stop breathing, you're no longer living. So to be able to reconnect with yourself through your breathing, to have the breath lift you and guide you, to internalize when it's good to exhale, when it's most beneficial to inhale, that stuff comes out on the mat. And those techniques don't need to be thought out because you're reprogramming your body and your parasympathetic nervous system as you engage in this breathing. So you're gaining more internal control over your body. Additionally, your internal awareness with yoga increases exponentially. When they talk about the bandhas, pull your bandhas up, your internal muscles, and you try it, you can actually feel what they're talking about. You can start to pull from that place. If you throw a rope on the ground and you want to straighten it, do you work out the kinks in the middle, or do you grab both ends and pull? All you have to do is grab both ends, pull, and relax in the middle. That's what this yoga does. It straightens your spine in a way that allows you to increase your vitality, your awareness, your energy. It's exactly what we all need, especially serious practitioners of Jiu-jitsu. There's physical repetition of techniques where you get a passable grade. Oh, you mimic those techniques well. To apply that against a very tough, physically gifted, skilled, and aware individual is completely different. And to be able to do that takes many, many years of physical mastery, strategic experimentation, and many, many failures. And a lot of people burn out along the way. They get injured. They don't have the right training approach. They're not under the right teacher. They get a false impression of what Jiu-Jitsu actually is, and they never make it. Hopefully they have a positive impression to wherever they stop in the journey. But to make it all the way to black belt, it requires something very special in an individual. You have to fall in love. You have to become a fan. You fall in love with the art. You study other martial artists. You mimic them. You take what you can, you steal their techniques, and reinterpret it in your own way. This is the synthesis that has to take place on a high level in order to become an efficient Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. That kind of synthesis is exactly what evolution is about. We combine and recombine things in new and interesting ways. That's why Jiu-Jitsu continues to evolve, and the Jiu-Jitsu of today looks different. However, it's still distraction angles and leverage. No one invented leverage, and no one has a monopoly on angles. Jiu-Jitsu continues to evolve. The meaning of the black belt differs, but my instructor said the true meaning of the black belt is adaptation. Some people look at Jiu-Jitsu as a marathon. And that's a really good way to look at it, because you don't want to approach a marathon as a sprint. You'll burn out. So you pace yourself, you prepare properly, and you do it. And it takes a lot of focus to be able to do those 26 miles. But then you realize, oh, it's an ultra marathon. It's actually 100 miles. But now you know how to pace yourself. You know what works for you. You know that there are no shortcuts. It's all about breathing. It's all about rhythm. It's all about stride. So the journey never ends. And in fact, people want to get rid of their white belt. There's no expectation at white belt. It's really the best place to be. You get your black belt, you're going to be a black belt longer than you were a white belt, blue, purple, or brown. You're going to be a black belt for the rest of your life. So do great preparation in order to receive the belt, and then just continue your journey. No one is watching except you. So honor the process, honor the art, and it will take care of you. Desire is the root of all success. These people desire it. They want it. Now, it's one thing to want the idea of being a world champion, being successful, having physical mastery, being able to dominate other people. That is important, and that can utterly transform your life. However, if you really want to be the best in the world, if you want to be at that world level consistently, you have to do what other people are not willing to do. You have to put in the work. And for those people to be at the world level, they need to want nothing more than to do exactly what they're doing. There can't be any distractions. You have to be utterly and totally committed. And if you are willing to do, somebody out there is always willing to sacrifice more than you are. But if you say, no, I am that guy who's willing to sacrifice more than you, then you might have what it takes, even though you haven't gone through the steps yet. If you are willing to do that, I am willing to do whatever it takes to be the best, then you just might have it. If you are not satisfied with being able to dominate 97% of the general population, then you might have what it takes. You have to continually teach yourself. If you want to be an entrepreneur, if you want to leave the 9-to-5 system, if you want to follow your dreams, whatever dreams those may be, you have to have the confidence to be able to adapt and change. My first idea with the Academy was a bomb. An online journal, terrible, lost money. I tried something else. I tried instructional DVDs, much better. Fear holds people back, a lack of confidence in their ability to adapt. Risk management. Jiu-jitsu and entrepreneurship go hand in hand. If you get in a bad position, it doesn't help to freak out. You have to remain calm, assess your situation, and realize that, okay, I can escape. I'm mounted, but I can escape. All I have to do is this. 2 turns and you're in a much better position. Entrepreneurship is not dissimilar. It's about risk management. It's about recognizing opportunity, seizing opportunity, and then if that opportunity is thwarted or taken from you at the last minute, being able to adapt and still make something positive come out of it. Jiu-jitsu should be practiced by all wanting to be entrepreneurs because it teaches you how to adapt, it teaches you how to survive, and it teaches you that with a couple of moves, your entire vista of possibilities can open up. Stay calm, relax.